So, Umbral Monument has been finally released in Arknights Endfield, and in this video, I am going to show you everything you need to know how to beat this new endgame mode and what are the best strategies. Now, before we start, I will be focusing on the Agony mode of Umbral Monument, and you unlock this variant after beating the original stage. Nothing changes too much here, so if you've only been playing the game recently, the tips still apply to normal mode too. Anyway, so the first most crucial tip is to take it slow and steady if you're having trouble. Each stage gives you 10 minutes to beat it. There are no additional rewards for speedy clears, so don't worry about how fast you finish the stage, and just focus on staying alive first and foremost. And for this to be possible, you absolutely will want to invest into Ardelia if you haven't already. I recommend using the following gold gear on her: 2 Eternal Shirenite Auxiliary Arms and Eternal Shirenite Gloves T1, which will allow you to activate the Eternal Shirenite set bonus, which makes Ardelia tankier, but more importantly, her susceptibility now also will provide teammates 16% damage boost, which is really great. And then the offset piece can be Tidefall Armor, and for her, the only stat that matters on this armor is Ultimate Gain Efficiency, since this helps spam her heals with the ultimate as much as possible. And then for her abilities, I just simply raise her battle skill to rank 9. None of the other skills provide good value since her damage is pretty bad, and this battle skill simply improves that susceptibility on enemies. Remember, her healing comes from this talent node, and it scales with the will stat, so also make sure to max it out. Finally, her weapon should be Dreams of the Starry Beach. Everyone got it for free, it's good, and as you can see, I still haven't equipped a good essence on it, so I just went with the one that provides most improvement to her treatment efficiency, which makes her healing better. And yeah, Ardelia is basically going to be your most important unit for this mode. She can literally work in any team, I believe, and especially in Agony mode's last stage with these 2 big dumb dudes, she is extremely crucial if you want to stay alive. Same goes for the first stage called Survive the Gas, which constantly keeps inflicting damage, so it's a very annoying stage if you don't use a healer. Now, since you only need one team currently to beat this mode, I highly suggest just upgrading your main damage dealer, if you still feel like you're lacking damage. Other units can stay at level 60 out of 80, what matters the most for them is to be equipped with gold gear, to benefit from increased HP, and obviously, if their sets can provide buffs, then all the better. For example, Perlica should be on the Pulsar Lab set, and you can use Ether Tech Gloves for extra arts intensity, or if you're using Zaihi in Cryo teams, she should be on the Tide Surge set. So far, during day 1, I've seen many different teams able to clear Agony mode, ranging from Cryo to Physical to Fire with Levitain, and even Electric teams were having a good time. But it's still all about making sure you invest into your biggest damage dealer, while supports should be with relevant gold gear, and perhaps with leveled abilities if they have good buffs. Also, the first 2 stages are highly favorable for anyone who pulled Gilberta because her grouping is super useful here. Just like in Genshin, she's doing Venti's job, but in Endfield. Her grouping ability makes it so much easier to deal with enemies when they keep running away. Plus, some of them can be lifted into air, so it adds an extra layer of survivability. Lastly, don't forget the power of Vanguards. Akakuri and Pogranichnik are both exceptional units in this mode. They can help with restoring SP so much, and especially in the 3rd stage, lack of SP sometimes can lead to team wipe because one of the bosses can grab you or your teammate, and if you don't cast a skill in time, they will just knock them out usually. So gaining more SP with Vanguards is super useful in tight situations. Still, at the end of the day, this Agony mode can be a gear check sometimes, especially if your active unit is below 5000 HP, or if Ardelia is not built properly. Sure, you can dodge most of the stuff, but more HP and healing means you can afford to make more mistakes. I would say at least for your main active unit, make sure they're around level 80 at the minimum. Overall, here's a table of some recommended teams you can bring over in this mode. They should be great in each stage, so if you're still in the process of picking out whom to raise to level 60 to unlock gold gear for buffing at least, you can check out these teams I wrote down. Oh, and I also made sure to check to see if any of the enemies have higher resistances to certain elemental damage, but nope, none of them have it except for one who is resistant against nature, but that doesn't matter, so each team here functions without any limitations. Alright, let's talk about the actual stages next. Okay, so the first stage, Survive the Gas, is pretty simple. Everyone will keep losing health constantly, so use a healer, preferably Ardelia as I've recommended, and the rest should be a pretty straightforward fight. Although, watch out for these annoying infiltrators because they can spam ranged attacks, and so I do recommend taking out them first after the first wave of enemies. And if you're playing Levitain teams, save up her ultimate until the last elite enemy pops up, so you can then rush it down. Next would be Unorthodox Tactic Stage. This one is pretty funny because enemies won't move, but they are all ranged attackers. So just position yourself around the middle since every new wave will spawn in this exact location. And yeah, if you have Gilberta, this makes the stage especially easy to cheese. Still, the last wave of worms is pretty annoying since they can leave puddles around and they are pretty tanky. So again, save up any ultimates you have before facing them off so you can then at least rush down one or two of them to make the fight easier. And lastly, we have the Ballista and Axe stage, which is the stage I assume most will have trouble with. Here you will fight two elite landbreakers, Executioner and Ballista. One of them will jump at the start of a fight from the concert stage, and you need to reduce its HP to 0. He will then jump back and the other one will show up. Reduce that one's HP, and then both of them will jump in at half HP. So now you need to finally defeat them both. I'ma be real, Executioner, the dude with the axe, is kind of easy to deal with. His attacks are very slow and clearly telegraphed. It's the Ballista who's really annoying. His attacks are sometimes hard to see when you're focusing on rotations, so be sure to pay extra attention to his attack patterns. On top of that, when fighting them one-on-one, the elite who stays at the concert stage will keep throwing these annoying rocks or needles on the ground. Always keep an eye on the ground to see when they're coming, and don't fight too aggressively. I really think it's best to forget rotations here because there's just too much stuff happening. Prioritize on surviving. And most importantly, I highly recommend saving your ultimates when they both finally show up at the same time. This is especially crucial for Leviathan players, since without her ultimate and fighting two mobs at the same time will be a painful experience. Now, personally, I'm not the best player when it comes to this game, so I'm not gonna lie. Even with a highly invested Leviathan, I lost quite a few times, and it was mostly because I was just trying to rush, even if I had so much time left. I feel like it's a really bad habit I have from other gachas with time-limited rewards during challenges. So again, taking it slow and sometimes just running away from someone like Ballista Elite and just regrouping is totally fine. Oh, and if you feel like it could be gear issue or gear check problem, I'm not sure about that yet. I have seen quite a few wonderful players who just solo these bosses. For example, this video popped up with Catcher, who is just absolutely owning these guys. And yeah, it's on Agony mode. I really never thought Catcher was interesting, but after watching this video, which I will leave a link in the description, man, it's so nice to see people are having fun with this mode by doing these wacky solo runs. But yeah, other than that, hopefully you're able to clear these Agony stages, and if you do, you can then trim this metal to make it look snappier. Still, if you're struggling, good news are, the actual Agony stage rewards are kinda meh, so if you can't clear them yet, don't worry too much about it. In fact, the main portion of the rewards comes from this event called Monumental Etching, which provides a bunch of leveling resources and 1350 ore barrel, which is roughly 2.5 pulls. Not gonna lie, the rewards here are a little disappointing. Would have been nice if at least 5 pulls worth of currency was the reward. Although on the flip side, as I said, completing this event only requires you to do normal stages, and then one mission asks you to challenge Agony mode once, so you don't even need to score a win. It's definitely a casual friendly event, but even then, with 3 featured units per update cycle, it would have been nicer to see a bit more pulls. Anyway, hope you found this video useful, and if you did, I'd really appreciate it if you could press the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.